It's no secret that NBA teams are always making a ton of buckets. Back when the three-point line was introduced, teams were making less than one three-pointer per game. Fast forward 40 years, and teams are making well over 12 three-pointers per game. And a lot of people who were NBA fans in the 1970s and 80s are frustrated that teams basing around a three-point play style are winning basketball games. So, I have an idea. I'm going to be going back to the 2019-2020 NBA season, and then I'll be redoing every single game and making it so that each field goal made is worth 1 point instead of 2 or 3. But how will I do this? Wait. So I have to go on all 82 games for 30 NBA teams? No! That's going to take me 100 hours. I have a social life. I need to go outside. What? No, I'm not going to let one video that is going to get 10 views take me 100 hours. Well, I'm going to do it. I'm going to be working 4 to 10 hours a day for the entire winter break. Wow. I'm a disappointment. But I would appreciate it if you could like and subscribe. Anyways, I'm going to stop stalling and actually do the work. And right here are some of the questions and answers you might have for this video, so here they are. If you want to see them, then pause the screen. It's been a week. After collecting tons and tons of data, I get to finally show you guys the results. The Indiana Pacers were shockingly the first seed. They went 68-14, which is the best record in the NBA. The Sacramento Kings shockingly made the playoffs. The Cleveland Cavaliers had a big drop-off. They went 12-70, which is by far the worst record in the NBA. And the New York Knicks made the playoffs. And right now on the screen, it doesn't look like many things have changed, but they did. Practically every team changed seeds, and obviously the scores of some of these games were super low. The average score in games were about 37 points, not including free throws. But I think this experiment changed the NBA a ton. The Knicks got 45 wins. The Houston Rockets, a team that was originally the 4th seed, became the 14th seed, which is by far the biggest drop-off in this video. The reason why the Houston Rockets dropped off so much is because they make a lot of three-pointers. Because of that, they are getting more points from one shot, and they are good at it. So there's no need to take a mid-range which is worth 2 points when you're already good at a three-pointer. At least that's the Houston Rockets mentality. Because of that, they make a lot fewer field goals than the average NBA team. But that's the complete opposite for the Indiana Pacers. They are making the most field goals a game. They are making an absolutely insane 42 shots per game. But unfortunately, different teams made the playoffs in this experiment than in real life. So I cannot do a playoff simulation because the results are not going to be accurate. I can simulate it on a certain software, but that's a simulation. We don't know if it's actually going to happen. So therefore, stuff like that isn't accurate for this. But we can assume the Indiana Pacers would have won the championship, because despite having the same record as the Milwaukee Bucks, their average lose margin is a lot smaller. If the Indiana Pacers lose, they lose by 1 or 2 points. But for the Bucks, it's more of 5 or 6 points. And as for the Western Conference, the Denver Nuggets have 8 less wins than the Pacers and Bucks. So we assume that the Indiana Pacers won the whole thing. But let's go back to when the Rockets only won 29 games. I explained the reason why. It's because they make a lot of three-pointers. But this rule does not apply to players individually. For example, Buddy Hield has the 23rd most field goals made in the NBA, but he makes a lot of three-pointers, which is just weird. But wait, what about Paul George? He's 70th in the NBA in field goals made. I know, it's confusing. There's literally no explanation for it. The league average field goals made per game has really changed throughout the years. For instance, in the 1947 NBA season, teams were getting 26 made field goals per game. But then the shot clock got invented. All of a sudden, legends like Wilt Chamberlain started coming in. And hey, not even 2 decades later, teams are making 45 field goals per game. Then the very next season, teams were making 46 field goals per game. But then in the 1999 season, teams were making 34. Yuck. The stretch of years which teams were attempting the most field goals was 1958 through 1980. At one point in this stretch, teams were attempting 109.4 shot attempts per game, but now teams are only attempting 91. But this is the shocking part. In the 1947 season, despite teams making 26 field goal attempts per game, they were taking the same amount of field goal attempts as today. 3 words. What the heck? I'm going to show you guys a chart. The x-axis of this chart will be the NBA's league average for a team's field goal percentage, and the y-axis for this chart will be the league average for a team's points per game. So the more up and right you are is better. So if we go over here, we have the early 2010s clumped up into this area, where the games were not efficient and the teams didn't score as many points. And then over here, we have 2016 to 2020, where the 3-point line exploded. But where's the 2021 season? Very inefficient, but a lot of buckets scored. Why is this? I have no idea. As I said before, there's literally no explanation for it. I mean, technically there is an explanation. More players are taking more threes, and a 3-pointer is a longer shot than a 2-pointer, so that is bound to lower your field goal percentage. But despite that 3-point line heavily progressing, teams are still taking more 2-pointers than 3-pointers. So I don't know why it's that low of a percentage. But overall, I'm not sure. But I want to hear your guys' opinions. So about the 3-point shooting statement, leave what you think in the comments below. The teams that score the most in the NBA are teams that are not centered around power forwards. Well, besides the Bucks, but that's an exception. The power forward is the position that makes the least amount of field goals. If you look at the top 100 players with the most field goals, not many of them are power forwards. I have a chart to prove that. This is a chart of power forwards that are in the top 100 players in the NBA and their field goals made. Over here we have Kevin Love. He made 327 field goals in the 2019-2020 season. If we go up, we approach all-star territory. Really good power forwards. And here's Bam Adebayo, a top 5 power forward / center in the NBA. If we move a bit to the left, we have an all-star power forward in Pascal Siakam. But where's Anthony Davis? Hold on, I feel like we're missing somebody. Where's the person we're missing? Oh, there he is, far above the rest of his competition. With 685 field goals made, which is 134 field goals more than the next power forward, he's clearly the most dominant. And by the way, 685 field goals in 63 games is 10.9 field goals per game, which is just crazy. We're at the end of the video. Hope you enjoyed. I'm Vrunnn. I worked 62 hours on this video. Please subscribe. And that's my take. Peace!